We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
It's time to buckle up for making sense of the madness.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and we are going to be talking NASA, new and old, and giving a lot of the stuff that's out there in the background right now. We're going to be talking about JPL and so much more, but then getting back into the history of NASA and its association with the military-industrial complex on a number of levels. Now, let me say this right now. Today is a day that, quite frankly, I did not think was going to happen. It's a day that is now literally over 5.5 years since I have been able to monetize on YouTube. For those 5.5 years, my content was labeled harmful. Now, obviously, this is untrue. And today, when I got the news in the beginning of my day, essentially, folks, I brushed my teeth and I was about to jump in the shower as I put some music on. I wanted to check my YouTube studio numbers just really quick, and it let me know that I had now been accepted into the partnership program that I had once been a part of. And officially no longer deemed, I guess, harmful content. In short order, out of the over 3,000 videos that are on this channel, I believe somewhere in the realm of over 2,900 have now been remonetized. I cannot tell you how important this is to the channel. It cannot be emphasized enough. In fact, I didn't even think about this in the very beginning, but we're gonna set a goal right now, okay? Because this is the first time that we've been actually live. We did do a premiere. We're gonna just try to get 5 super chats. Not even gonna make it $5. Any tier out there over the next 1 hour. Okay, that is now the goal. And what's the goal? To say we are so back. 1, 2, 3. And let's start that goal right now. And it's now started. So here's the deal. We're going to be talking a lot about NASA today. But this is a big win for free speech, for my ability to continue to do this on a regular level. If you haven't seen me for the past few days, that's because, this other gig has really taken up a lot of my time and put me on the road. And this is what I love. I love connecting with you. And now we can connect even better. I'm going to check for super chats. If you are watching this broadcast live from now on YouTube, okay, and you super chat, I will read that comment or question, bar none. The only way that it will not happen is if I think that you're trying to get me thrown off the air or hijack the channel. Okay? And I'll at least give a warning shot if it's progressive. But otherwise, we now get to interact again in real time. And we got a lot of stuff on NASA. I'm going to be showing you a video NASA did from 2013 talking about the reshaping of the flight industry, okay, all of it. You want to talk about restrictions, you want to talk about automation. Their vision is very, 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 very progressive right now. It's happening. For instance, again, I told you I've been traveling. There is now just this cattle-like mentality that you walk in front of the picture thing and you let them take your biometrics. Okay, and people say, oh, well, they already have your biometrics, but these are as recent as possible. The shape of our face changes. Okay, our features, our facial hair, all that stuff changes. And this is herding you into this slavery agenda that's kind of laid out in this NASA 2025 is closer than you think video. So we're going to play some of that. We might even kick it off with that. And then we got a multitude of stories out there that I do want to hit, okay? And they're all NASA related. And like I said, some of them get into the history of NASA working in areas where the military would train covert forces all over. And another thing, that's why Annie Jacobson's work is so important, because time and time again, when you look at her books on Area 51 or DARPA, the Pentagon's brain, NASA is integrally involved, is always involved. Okay? So, let's start it off like this. It worked, Groundhog. My man. Let's see if we can bring it up. We got our first one. We're gaming for 5 here. It worked. We're in. We did it. We are so back. But like I said, you're going to see these different arenas where NASA is integral as either a cover or doing the black ops work. Okay? But we're also going to go over some big, if you will, new NASA news, because if you've been watching this channel, you know that Sean Duffy, ex-reality TV star and transportation secretary, has been the head of NASA and been saying some pretty wild things. Oh, we're going back to the moon. We're going to beat China. We're actually going to do a human deal where we go up and around the moon like we did during Apollo before we landed on the moon. That's going to happen with SpaceX rockets. It's Artemis. He said thanks. But that's not as wild as it gets. We're building nuclear reactors on the moon. There's a lot of questions that we should all have about that. Okay? I'm just pointing that out. So, let's get into it. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share, and folks, I still can't do it without you. It is great news. We are remonetized on YouTube. I haven't been monetized in 5.5 years. I don't exactly know what that means. Obviously, there are ads on this now. I'm encouraging you to share all these videos, but if you can directly support me, that directly supports this broadcast. And expect more short, medium, and long-form videos, because I have got the fire back now, and I want to get to 100,000 subscribers. I want to get this message and these issues out there more. Who is talking about NASA right now? So $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. The links are down below. If you want to do PayPal, you can do that. We want to thank Marigold Resources, marigoldresources.com, for supporting the broadcast. Remember, if you are buying or selling a business, they can look into that for you. Also, my buddy who owns that runs rcreader.com, another great independent media outlet. I'm going to be having lunch tomorrow. We got actually a great guest in the afternoon, but we're going to be having a lunch with Todd and some other individuals. Great guy. But also want to remind people, this weekend, Friday and Saturday, it is the big show. I will be calling fights. It is my Christmas. Things are coming up Millhouse, everybody, right now for Jason Bermas. I'm very happy. It's been a struggle the last year with these independent media organizations struggling, going under, no paid gigs. But tomorrow is the weigh-ins, and then Friday and Saturday, MMA fights, Caged Aggression, .tv. You can watch the pay-per-view, okay? You can listen to me run my mouth with both Jens Pulver on Friday night and Tim Sylvia on Saturday night. I am looking forward to it, and give me a follow over on X. Let's get into it. NASA lays off 550 employees at Jet Propulsion Laboratory in sweeping realignment of workforce. Now, there are a multitude of reasons why this is happening. And I've seen people jumping in and saying, well, it's budget cuts and the government shutting down. There has always been money for work in not only the arena of space, but rocketry, surveillance, okay? And it goes well beyond that, because on the ISS, which we're going to discuss later, we're talking about hydrogels, we're talking about organoids, all right? All that is going on. But NASA, I did a video probably years ago where I showed you this video where it was just a NASA administrator bragging how he was downsizing the human capacity and the cost of all these different agencies for efficiency and bringing in automation. That's what this is. This is AI, automation, and the movement, not just from JPL, but to other arenas that have been built around NASA themselves. Google is one because of that AI and because of these robotics. Okay? So that's the 30,000 foot take right now on what this really is about. And unfortunately, these guys are at the forefront of transhumanism. Okay? And in a moment, we're going to show you, not only the transhumanism, but the AI aspects as well. There's just so much to go over here. Leffins, let's give it up for Leffins right now, everybody. This is what makes it exciting for me again, that we are back in here. We are on a level playing field. Let's get this channel to 100,000. We got less than 50 viewers right now with 75,000 subscribers. No big deal. We're not going to be on the front page anytime soon, but the Bermas Brigade is strong. So thank you so much. We've already gotten 2 of those super chats, and that is a big one. We really do thank you for your support there. Okay. So when you talk about automation, when you talk about AI, Google and NASA claimed quantum supremacy. Okay, quantum supremacy together. Okay? So they are about so much more than we're going to the moon and we're going to Mars. In fact, they're also about slavery and their technology to be able to track, trace, and database us. Okay, and that's where we're going right now. So we're going to play this small clip from this video about 2025 now. And then we're going to go over what's actually happened, okay, in this system at the airport, the TSA, all of that stuff. All right, so this is back in 2013. Let's hit it.
It's time to transform the system. Such a change cannot be accomplished by one agency working alone. As a result, Congress directed the creation of the Joint Planning and Development Office.
Now let's stop right there. I just got to stop it. So like I said, Duffy is the Transportation Secretary, but you notice Homeland Security is right here. NASA, the FAA, the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. Now, this is 2013, but let's not forget, guys like Thiel, during the Trump administration, the first one was the Technology Secretary. You see how this all integrates and works? That's why, the Department of Defense is no longer even that. It's the Department of War now. We've gotten into a lot of absurdities. But again, let's get back to this. This is just an example of how NASA integrates into all these different things.
As a way for all critical organizations, government, industry, labor,
government, industry, labor. Yeah. You know what that smells like to me? Techno-fascism. Isn't that weird how that works? It's just techno-fascism. So, they're giving you this example right away of being surveilled. It's like something out of Total Recall. And like I said, at this point, when you go in, they take your biometric information. In some places, some of the bigger airports, they make you walk in line with another person as you get filmed. You don't get a choice. See, at least you can opt out of this. And just like the body scanners that were put in there, it's like full time, but they want everything automated as well. They want to take the human element out of all of it. Now, I do want everybody to understand also the irony of this. You notice how they're talking about all this safety? You realize that none of this ever went through in reality, and that we've had more, air disasters on the ground and near disasters than any time in my lifetime over the last 46 years young that I am, that I can remember. Am I crazy about that? All this stuff has obviously been commercialized and put into place in 2025. They overpromise and underdeliver on the technology that supposedly is going to make our lives better, but they double and triple down on the surveillance technology that they utilize.
Advanced aircraft materials
Now notice that they're kind of showing you this satellite right here. Okay, now I'm just going to point out this: if that were an accurate representation of where a satellite was in orbit, okay, that would have a balloon attached to it, and that's something we've gone over again and again here. That in reality, and we're going to just like end that right there. Okay, in reality, that is a total and complete network that NASA is about. It is the balloon network. All right? Like, it's not one or the other. I know that the space is fake people love to say, oh, everything's on a balloon, satelloons. You have to be sympathetic for them, because you can see this crane. You can see this giant thing right here. Okay? And we're going to show you, how this is utilized. I mean, you see how massive that is. Car-sized, bus-sized. Just like there was no Chinese spy balloon. Okay? It was a satellite system internationally. Whether or not NASA was a part of it, I would imagine they were, because it was in U.S. airspace. Of course, it's got all the kind of plausible deniability all over it. Right? Yes, that would be on that. So again, they also give the public a very false perception of what they're up to. And, right now, as we watch this, I want to show everybody this next article. This just happened. Now, I mean, it might have actually been in your social media feed, everybody. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, look at that. Look at what's that falling down in a big old parachute.
Who's got the checkbook?
Oh, look at that, huh?
Wow.
How about that? A big old NASA. And the thing is, more and more of these are in the air. And I believe that's why we're seeing more and more of these accidents, because listen, to err is human. And there is plenty of human error, I assure you. Okay? Just want to point that out. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share. Let's continue on our little NASA journey. Okay? NASA found a secret military base buried 100 feet deep in Greenland's ice shelf. So you noticed that satellite right there was being deployed in an Arctic region. Okay? And just like, there's no underground bases, NASA scientists have found the remnants of a U.S. military base buried 100 feet below the surface of the ice in Greenland. Of course, they knew about this. All right? I believe, this thing, it was 65 years old. It was Cold War, and it is big time. Built in secret between June of 1959 and October of 1960 by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Camp Century, also known as the City Under Ice, was comprised of 21 underground tunnels spanning 9,800 feet, according to Interesting Engineering. In radar images of the site, Green said many of the base's individual structures are clearly discernible. To study the base, NASA used uninhabited aerial vehicles, UAVs, with aperture radar, a technology similar to LiDAR that is commonly used in searching for hidden structures like the Mayan ruins. Yeah, I mean, they've been using LiDAR and all these other things. And this is what they let the public know about, folks. Believe me, they have other techniques. The difference is that where LiDAR uses laser light, UAVSAR uses radio waves. We've also demonstrated how they can use surveillance from your Wi-Fi with those radio waves bouncing off of objects. Okay? Same kind of technology. The U.S. and Denmark signed the Defense of Greenland Agreement in 1951 to negotiate arrangements under which armed forces of the parties of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, old NATO. And just a side note, Trump seems to be aligning with this whole NATO ideology as of late, does he not? Are people not realizing that? Just point it out. It's not great. Okay? So, underground base is real. You can watch this whole thing. Now, what I think is interesting about this, and I did watch some of it, we're not going to play any of it here, is, obviously this is the type of quote-unquote propaganda film that they put out there. Like a lot of, I'm not saying, I know the nukes are fake, people. Okay? There is some questionable video. I don't think that means nukes are fake. And there's some questionable stuff here. When they talk about Laurel Canyon and where they were making all these propaganda videos, yes, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff that were never revealed as such, but I think that some of these reels are very much a part of that. So you want to check it out. NASA found a secret military base buried 100 feet deep in Greenland's ice shelf. Can you imagine what they found from the enemies over the years? What they don't tell you about? Just want to point that out. Specifically, a deep connection between Panama's Embera people and the NASA's first crewed missions to the moon. So, like I said, NASA's part of a bunch of covert programs. And this one's actually really interesting, human peace, kind of. I wouldn't say it shows you both sides, but it shows how cultures can come together in a sense. Like that's what the main guy, the story is about, who trained all these people. Okay, his son said about it that he was able to break barriers, but essentially the U.S. military trained tens of thousands of troops in survival mode here. And before they were launching these people up in Gemini and in Apollo, etc., they weren't sure whether they were going to get them to have a landing in the Pacific Ocean or wherever those ships were to get them. And it could have been anywhere. So they had to do survival training in case they were in the worst of the worst regions, including the jungle. I mean, that's a little hairy, you know. But then again, if you look at the types of things that these guys are getting in, experimental aircraft, things with rockets on them that blow up, that are very volatile, you know, ballsy move is what I'm saying. So I've been mentioning Duffy. And I told you we were doing a bunch on NASA right now. Former NASA nominee Jared Isaacman in talks to become agency's chief. Now, this guy, I'll be honest, I don't know a ton of his background. But I do know that he is aligned with the Muskernuts. He's tried to get this position before. There were recent hearings. It seems like this guy is going to be the guy. But when you watch those hearings, it's all Johnny nonsense talking points. Go into the moon. We're gotta get to Mars. So this is a SpaceX guy. All right. And when you look at SpaceX, at least with human beings and the claims, because these are all claims to me. I can't verify them. I'm claiming my ignorance. So to me, these are claims. They sent Snoopy around the moon. And that's not a joke. I mean, you know what? We'll do it live. You know, we'll break out a little joke too.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So Snoopy in space. There he is. Okay. And put him like, you know, it popularized. And that's the thing. You think I'm joking. They propagandized a lot of this stuff, and that's why they chose Snoopy to go around the moon. All right, let's see. There he is. He went to Artemis. Now, they were supposed to send humans to the moon, land on the moon by this time because Artemis keeps getting pushed back. But that's the Snoopy doll in the little astronaut outfit they sent to the moon. Okay, so they're saying they're going to do humans on this same trip. If you believe NASA, again, we'll do it live. Polaris Dawn, let's say height. How many miles was it? So Polaris Dawn went 870 miles. Okay? Supposedly went past the Van Allen radiation belts or into them. Not sure exactly past them. Okay, Polaris Dawn. This is the largest human since Apollo. And it's the first time women have been up that high. Now, maybe they went that high. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. That's less than 1,000 miles. Let's do it live again. Let's just do it live again. Okay. How far away is the moon from Earth? Let's do that. Oh, 238,900 miles. All right, that's the average range. Hey, they should send Snoop Dogg. Con job, thank you so much. See, we're making it happen, Cap'n. Oh, it's still, you can't see it yet because a few more people have to comment. But we want to say, hey, thank you so much over there. They sent Snoopy to the moon. I know it's cartoon level, everybody. I get it. So I always say about 250,000 miles. I up it. I know there's the Room 237. There's the Kubrick stuff. We're not even going to get into that. That means that they're about, 238,000 miles and some change away from getting there, and then they got to get back from the moon, around it. Huh. Color me, but Polaris Dawn went 870? Let's go back. 870? 870. Polaris Dawn. Polaris Dawn, everybody. Again, color me skeptical that that's going to happen. And here's the thing. This is the Artemis 2 mission. They're saying experts think they're starting to worry. And I mean, the logistics of this stuff, they're making it into a SpaceX thing. This is a CNN one. They're trying to, put some heat on the Musker do. The truth is that the Russians have only been, I think, about 300. Let's see, how far have the Russians been? How far have the Russians sent humans into space? What's the high? Let's see, 409 kilometers, which is wait. So what is that? That's only 221 miles? My goodness. There's 203 miles, so they're way under. There's 221. Yeah, they're way under 300. Now, we're going to talk about the ISS in a minute, okay, because that is actually important. So they're getting rid of it. They're saying by 2030, it's out. Now, I wonder, what they're going to present to the public. I mean, there may be more out there, but I'll tell you this. If they're out in space further, and we'll look at this Snoop Dogg comment. Thank you, Conjob. We really do appreciate you. If they're that far out there and they've got all this stuff, it's not rockets. They've got other propulsion systems. Okay? That's what I'm going to say about that. Now, we got a few videos here that I definitely want to get into. These two in particular. And by the way, thumbs it up, subscribe, share, everybody. Remember, I cannot do this without you, so I do want to remind everybody, if you want to support the broadcast, you can do so right there, okay? What was this last one here? Oh, yeah, that's a whole nother story that we can get into, because I wanted to bring this up. It's not like when they were showing this as a kid, everybody thought this was like a rocket. Well, it would be taking off on a rocket, or many times this thing would be launched via, where is it? Just a regular little plane. Get it up there. Another NASA plane. There's the vomit comet. I got a whole thing of how they use this stuff. Okay, that's why I believe space is real. I'm not saying they don't lie to us about it, but I'm going to let you guys be the judge of what's real and what's not. So I'm going to play this it might as well be the WEF World Economic Forum piece of celebrating your slavery. Okay, let's first of all just bring this up. These people are arrogant enough. They put this video. What did you love about the COVID-19 84 nightmare? What did you just love about it? Okay, so they put this out during everything, and this is 5 ways that your life could be reshaped in the long term. And we'll get to why NASA integrates into this. Phil New, thank you so much. Thank you. We are on the road right now. We are on the road to making it into that super chat mode. Okay, and they had that nice little creepy music. Offices could, okay, home working. They can serve as a different function, these offices. They could use, look at this. Look at this. Oh, this drives me bonkers. It's a showroom. It's a research lab. Oh, everything's got a QR code on it. And you could reconnect with your colleagues there. Everything's got a QR code on it, and everything's got, hey, the sanitizer thing is ridiculous. You want to wash your hands? Wash your hands. 15-minute spaces. Oh, everything's just so convenient. Neighborhood hubs. Gyms, bars, or art galleries. See, they don't want you going anywhere. They want to restrict your movement. They want to automate everything. They want to bring in AI. Oh, 15 walks from here. Everything's 15 minutes away. Cloud months. Ghost kitchens. Oh. Yep, just the old takeaway. Isn't that nice? Oh, you could just be identified by my heartbeat? Oh, and your facial recognition. Because, so let me stop it there. They want your heartbeat because that's as unique as your face, okay? But if you're wearing a mask, if they're enforcing some kind of slavery on you, they want another thing. They're going to use what? What kind of technology? Technology from who? Huh. Yeah, it's as unique. Oh, NASA. They have a system that can ID you from your heartbeat using lasers. Isn't that great? That's so lovely. That is fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, digital technology will change, and believe me, they're trying right now. They are trying to take as much humanity out of education. There's no more cursive. I've talked about this. Cursive is a very human way to connect with others, and they want that out. These are bad people, everybody. They're not the people that I like. Okay, we should probably be pretty skeptical of them. Oh, well, homeschooling is challenging. Don't worry, with all the AI digital tools, like that's not even going to be a real teacher. Maybe at first, but that's going to be replaced with an AI avatar so quick, it's going to make your head spin. That, by the way, that's the great replacement, everybody. Don't get me wrong. They're trying to make culture clashes all over the place and play them up and play up the idea of political class infighting and violence, and they've stirred some of that up on purpose. The real goal is to replace human beings as a species and to get you to integrate into this techno-fascistic nightmare and slowly lose your humanity to it on a multitude of levels. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Just you take a good look, everybody. Combining the best of both worlds. So you see, everybody's happy at the end. I think that's the first time they show you the family without the mascot. Just point that out. Okay? What would you like to become permanent? Sorry, the encoder there, but yeah, what would you like from this thing to become permanent? How about nada? How about zip? How about zibbity dibbity zilchy? How about none of it? Okay? All right, we got one more big video. Before we get to that, I do want to say to everybody, thank you so much that have been supporting the broadcast. Let's thumbs it up, subscribe, share, ring that bell, start sharing these videos all over. Yes, this is more of a long form one, but like I said, get ready, buckle up, because we're going to be doing a lot of short form ones and some medium form ones. It's really going to depend on the subject matter. Once again, I do need your support. If you can support the broadcast, please consider it. The links are down below, especially if you catch it in the replay. And remember, you super chat while you're watching live here on YouTube. We'll read that question. We'll get into that subject ever so briefly, and we will do it live. What do you think about that?
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
It's true, Jim Carrey, but a loser with heart. And I don't get everything right. Again, I played a video today, the first one that has been monetized in years, okay? And it's at the end with Gareth Ike. I say, hey, we've been picking up on YouTube, but at the same time, I don't expect to be remonetized anytime soon. That was 3 weeks ago, and here we are. So, I want to talk NASA and what AI, because that's a big deal. Artificial intelligence. Now, we're going to play this bit about quantum computing, AI, how it works together. It's the nature of reality. These guys are a big thing on this whole multiverse theory, which I think is Johnny nonsense. But, you know, they are the Defense Department, okay? And they've claimed quantum supremacy. And this is big-time business for them. So let's just type that in, because with the quantum supremacy, they've partnered with Google. And that's really what the basis of this video is going to be. So NASA and Google, I'm not going to even go AI, I'll go quantum supremacy. And there's a lot of talk of what quantum supremacy is, especially now. But hey, they declared it 6 years ago. And whatever that means, whether you believe it or not, again, they overpromise and underdeliver. They are the Defense Department, and that also means most importantly, everybody, narrative management. It really, truly is a quote-unquote information war. All the time, every time. And that's why you've got to have discernment. So I'm going to be jumping in on this one quite a bit, but buckle up because here is Google and NASA Quantum Artificial Intelligence Labs.
Who was it that said, if you think you understand quantum physics, you don't understand quantum physics?
Consciousness, intelligence,
Free will, determinism,
black holes, protecting the planet from asteroids,
Heisenberg uncertainty principle, atoms, ion traps, nuclear magnetic resonance, superconductors, photons,
artificial intelligence, machine learning, past and future, classical physics, time travel. I mean, the whole thing. I can tell it's going to get very hot as I start speaking, so tell me if I start to look really shiny. Quantum physics puts everything into question.
It defies every intuition you have about the natural world.
Quantum is a very strange regime of physics.
Things can exist in this state of superposition where they could be like ghosting on each other, where they could be this and that at the same time.
Entanglement, quantum entanglement.
Two objects, if they're quantum mechanically entangled, are still strongly related to each other, even though they can be a vast distance apart.
The notion of the multiverse. There's a whole family of Hartmuts in different states and going through different experiences and different life trajectories.
Let's just stop right there. See if I can just bring it on back to the little thing. I want people to really understand my objection to this idea with whatever is happening in quantum mechanics is the idea of some kind of an infinite multiverse that is as real in flesh and blood as I am right now. Okay? Because that's essentially what they're advocating here. And I think that people have to understand, if that's the, like think about it, you're a lobster in one of those realities. That would mean that in some reality, I would be the most benevolent of benevolent people and then the most evil of evil people on every side. There could be no in between because it's infinite. Okay? Therefore, it's almost like I'm not really in control of my actions, and it plays into not only this idea that there is no creator, that this is not flesh and blood, but whether it's a multiverse or a simulation, we're not really human. We're something that is different. No, we're an exceptional species. Okay, there's something different about us and our consciousness, and we need to acknowledge that. And if your actions do not have consequences, then you're buying into this idea that you don't have a conscience, which I believe you have. I believe good and evil exist. Okay? I get it. There are varying cultural degrees of whatever that is. But inherently, good and evil exist. And if you don't have that conscious, then does consciousness really exist? They can't even tell you what consciousness is. But they keep trying to replicate it in this cheap format. And when I say they, I mean organizations like NASA, organizations like Google. So again, let's get back to lobster reality and this idea of a multiverse. Remember, this is the theory of everything. This video, by the way, well over a decade old. I think it might be back in 2013 at this point. All this stuff, can you imagine how far they've gone?
The famous one is quantum tunneling.
Tunneling
is the slippage between universes.
For a long time, people thought those effects only existed in the microscopic domain.
Like atoms, electrons, photons.
But really, it's the theory of our universe.
So if you want to build a quantum computer, you want to incorporate those new phenomenon into information processing.
Maybe quantum computation is one of those instruments that's going to allow us to see quantum effects at the human scale.
Google and NASA have teamed up to share one of the world's first commercial quantum computers. This machine, made by Canada's D-Wave, will be installed in a NASA research center in California.
This is the inside of one of our dilution refrigerators. All of this infrastructure is to basically operate the chip at a temperature that's 2 orders of magnitude colder than interstellar space. The processor is a quantum computer.
Now let's stop right here. You know, again, what they've been able to deliver in the public sphere of whatever that does, and they've stabilized supposedly some of these entanglements, and you know, they've been able to use qubits, which are zeros and ones at the same time, and multiply and multiply and multiply them, and use them with standard machines, but stand alone. At least in the public arena, we haven't seen it. And I often wonder, you know, they're showing us this, and don't get me wrong, I think there is something to this, but what do they have that they are not sharing with us for whatever reason? Okay, because again, they've overpromised on this as well. Think about this. This is over a decade old now, and underdelivered big time. That's right, Google and NASA, at least in the public arena.
But uses things called qubits, as well as being either 1 or a 0. A qubit can also be both at the same time, therefore bringing about a quantum leap in terms of power.
Harnessing principles of reality that are, up until very recently, completely not observable by us is just fascinating in ways that I can't completely articulate.
The overwhelmingly obvious killer app for quantum computation is optimization.
Optimization problems are extremely difficult problems.
Actually, all Google server centers together will not be capable of coming up with the best solution to these optimization problems as they get larger. So now, what is an optimization problem? Here, give you an example. You want to do a trip through South America and you want to visit a number of cities. And then you ask, what is the cheapest ticket I can get to visit, let's say, 20 cities? And you can, of course, different routes and different airlines. And sort of imagine I list all the different options I have for my different routes to travel to these cities.
We currently, as a civilization, we generate vast amounts of data. It could be climate data, genomic data, but it's very difficult to generate useful insights oftentimes from that data.
So again, this is where the idea of you're going to also have to trust the science of the AI. It's really narrative management all the way around, which is even scarier that these people are talking about this. You know, forget about the data centers that are now getting large, where they're actually talking about building mini nuclear reactors, and the places that they've gone, everybody's energy price goes up. I mean, are we benefiting from this AI, or are we giving ourselves over to it?
If you can solve optimization problems better, you have an important resource at your hand.
I think at least it teaches us that we shouldn't be naive about our world, that we shouldn't think about the world as a simple machine. It forces us to consider, you know, more sophisticated notions of how the reality around us is actually shaped.
I can't ask it how long I'll live or the meaning of life. Really, we don't know what the best questions are to ask that computer. That's exactly what we're trying to understand now.
To me, the most important question is, are we alone? And I have a feeling that quantum computers, as they mature, are going to help us answer that question.
This is, of course, a more long-term research endeavor, and there are still tremendous obstacles and big questions. Some of those will be addressed in D-Wave, some will be addressed at NASA, and some at Google.
I wasn't sure.
Let me just stop there. So we've gone kind of, D-Wave's still around, don't get me wrong, but they've gone beyond that. And Google, NASA, I mean, you can't even call it the Department of Defense anymore, the Department of War, but DARPA. And really, when you talk about DARPA, you have to look at the medical implications as well as BARDA, because as I stated before, you know, when you're on the ISS, they are doing experimentation on things like organoids, which are biological material, human biological material, interfacing with traditional electronics. At least that's what they're telling us. And when we talk about bio-nanotech, that's also huge right now.
I would be able to experiment with a quantum computational device in my lifetime, and now I'm confident that I will be able to.
How amazing it is that we, with our monkey heritage and monkey brains and monkey fingers, have somehow lucked into a brain that allows us to ask legitimate questions about the nature of physical reality. That's so cool.
It's that human risk to...
Let me just stop that. And that's another thing. Look what else they're promoting right there. I personally, I get why people believe that, but I'm a micro, not a macro evolution guy. I mean, they just found, again, another human skeleton that's supposedly 100 million years old. Again, I'm ignorant. I don't necessarily know how you could know it's that old. I mean, you could guess. And I get that there's scientific methods. We've been wrong before. All right? And this idea that, intelligent design is out of the way. We're just so lucky. We're so lucky everything just magically happened. Huh.
Go forth into that unknown frontier. Whether it's space exploration or quantum exploration, we do it because we must. We do it because that's what it means to be human.
Let me ask you something. Does being human mean replacing the species? Because that's the real deal. Remember, that's what the chief scientist of NASA, Dennis Bushnell, tells you. That we become them, or they become us, or you have human contaminated machines. We're going to have to do a big old Bushnell episode. Chief scientist at NASA, somebody that worked for that Defense Department, and NSA as their rep over and over and over again. So this is what I need from you guys. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. I want to thank everybody who did give a super chat and supported the channel today on its rebirth on YouTube. It's remonetization. If you are watching this after the fact, please consider buying me a coffee. It is buymeacoffee.com/Jason Bermas. The links are down below. Also follow me on X. But if you're not a subscriber, subscribe right now. Again, how many people are spending an hour on NASA? Not many. Subscribe right now, ring that bell, and as always, it is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. I absolutely love you guys, and I will see you all on the flip side.